It's 2007. Bulgaria and Romania joined the European Union. The iPhone has its grand debut. Microsoft releases Windows Vista, and the Phoenix spacecraft is launched. You go about the hustle and bustle of your everyday life. Perhaps a dead-end, life-draining 9-to-5 cubicle job is where your career path has taken you. This, mixed with a stagnating love life and the microwaved frozen meals you eat every night for dinner, makes the droning of the TV you sit in front of almost unbearable. Almost. That is until your channel surfing pulls you onto Adult Swim or Sci-Fi, where an animated show about a young group of friends and their limitless dreams and passion titled Gurren Lagann pulls you up and out of your seat, sitting in front of the TV like a kid on Saturday mornings once more. And while this fantasy I have just painted is not particularly accurate for myself, as I was just getting into kindergarten at the time, I know the effect that Gurren Lagann has on people, and I know there were those cruising through life who were able to hold on to something and wake up, thanks to Gurren Lagann. Seeing a story about a young boy and his friends who, against all odds, managed to break free from oppression and literally rise to the top is inspiring and freeing for many fans. I at least know it was for me. I come to speak on how this effect is so well achieved within Gurren Lagann. And if you haven't seen the show yet, there will be huge spoilers in this video, so why don't you go watch it and then come back. It's only 27 episodes, so it should only take a couple days. It's okay, you can pause the video and come back. And if you need reason to go watch it, here's a clip of some of the animation.
Happy feet, one more combo. That ain't Falco. That ain't Falco.
If that wasn't enough, feel free to check out my video on beginner anime in which I highlight exactly why you should watch it. And if you are still here just because you want to be, well, then I assume you have your big boy pants on from Oshkosh Bagosh. So sit back, relax, and grab a drink. We are Dino Junkie, and this is Gurren Lagann and the Acceptance of Fate. In the beginning of this grand-scale galactic story, we start in an underground village with Shimon and Kamina. Just to quickly clarify, it is pronounced Shimon, not Simon, and especially not Shimon, because then it just sounds like someone saying semen with a speech impediment. Anyways, both boys have duties within the village, Shimon being quite the formidable miner, and Kamina being, well, Kamina. But the two incredibly different personality types of the young men play off of each other, and the two quickly become best friends as Shimon joins Kamina's Team Gurren. Kamina wishes to rise to the surface of Earth, feeling smothered and trapped underground. With the discovery of Lagann, a small gunman Simon finds and pilots with the help of his core drill, and the breaching of their village by a different gunman, Kamina is able to have his dreams of living on the surface become a reality. Within such a short amount of time, Kamina is able to rally his timid, meek friend towards leading a life worth actually living. Yes, Shimon pilots Lagann, but it is the words of Kamina that drive him forward. Don't believe in yourself, believe in me. Believe in the Kamina who believes in you. Before this, Shimon had accepted his fate as a talented miner within an underground village. But thanks to Kamina, he was able to see the true value and worth he held within himself. One of Kamina's main reasons for reaching the surface was also to find his father, something he knew was unlikely due to the present dangers, but still strove for anyways. Even after this dream is quickly crushed after finding the remains of his father, Kamina still pushes on, accepting the fate of his father, but not willing to share it. Kamina dies in episode 8 of Gurren Lagann, and while incredibly tragic, Kamina doesn't go out pleading, but instead fights with every ounce of strength left in his body until he realizes that his work is done, and it is his time to go, leaving Shimon with an updated version of what he told him before. Don't believe in the Kamina who you believe in. Don't believe in the Shimon that I believe in. Believe in the Shimon who believes in himself. Kamina's unwavering bravery to fight and inspire to the very end is what makes him such a fantastic leader of Team Gurren and role model for Shimon not only up to his death, but after as well. Kamina's legacy spearheads the drives and passions of those found within part 2 of the series, defying the eternal fate of death through living in the hearts of those who loved him, and defying the fate imposed on him by the Spiral King. After Kamina's passing, Shimon falls into a deep depression, leaving Team Gurren in a state of disarray, until Shimon meets Nia, the daughter of the Spiral King, whose innate kindness and grace allows for Shimon to return to his former self and retake the leadership role of Team Gurren. Shimon successfully leads his team in the defeat of the Spiral King through his newfound confidence hammered into his soul from Kamina, Nia, and the rest of Gurren, powering his core drill further than before. This is the first instance of Shimon defying the fate of his race and his liberation of humanity from the Beastmen. Years later, in part 2 of the series, Shimon is leading a surface nation of human beings along with Rasyu, a friend he and KAMINA freed from an underground religious group in part 1. When it becomes clear that the Beastmen and the Spiral King were not the greatest threat to humanity, but instead the anti-spiral, the nation the two worked so hard to build begins to devolve into chaos. Nia is found to actually be a sleeper agent for the anti-spiral, delivering their message to the people of Earth that the moon will collide with the Earth in 3 weeks to control the size of the human race. Shimon is blamed for letting the population get out of control and imprisoned by Rasyu to calm the people of their nation. Rasyu then tries to save a small portion of the overall population from the impact of the moon by taking them off the planet on a ship. Shimon is able to escape with the help of Yoko, and he, along with other members of Gurren that are still on Earth, fight the death spiral machine in order to save the Earth, in which they succeed. This causes Rasyu to look at his actions with shame, attempting to take his own life before Shimon stops him, going against the dreaded fate that Rasyu saw for himself. Shimon and the rest of the team then fight the anti-spiral, leading in an exchange that I think perfectly exemplifies how the characters feel about molding their own destinies and fates, acting as the direct mouthpiece for the creative minds at Gainax. The anti-spiral says, "You continue to struggle, even knowing what you know?" To which Shimon replies, "Of course we do. The tomorrow that we're trying to grab for ourselves is not the tomorrow that you've set out for us. It's the tomorrow that we choose for ourselves. A tomorrow that we choose out of all the infinite universes. We'll fight our way through. We'll keep fighting and protect the universe. We'll stop the spiral nemesis too." The anti-spiral then says, "You can't possibly accomplish all that." To which Shimon then replies, "Just watch us." Believing in purely predetermined fate destroys any kind of faith in humans, in our ability to grow and change and mature for the better, and for each and every one of us to have our own place in the universe. There are those who look to the grandeur of this series, especially towards the end, and dismiss the over-the-top action and abilities of the characters as poor power scaling, or the show being too much for the sake of being too much, but that could not be further from the truth. The universal playing field which we are granted at the end of the series is supposed to symbolize the level reachable when humans put their minds, hearts, and souls fully into whatever their focus needs to be at that time. The world of Gurren Lagann is filled with stories of people who accepted their station in life, deeming it the fate of themselves, their community, or even their race, but it is also a story about those people working as hard as possible to counteract said circumstances, to break through the mold and target all that is stacked against them with the full intention of creating their own destiny. That is what makes Gurren Lagann so special, and while many characters accept a final, unwavering fate, they do not stop until they no longer can impact the universe around them. The crew of Lagann isn't special because they are just inherently talented. They are special because they are a group of people who put every drop of sweat and blood into the betterment of themselves, of their friends and family, of their world, and of their place in the universe. Shimon and Yoko, who moved past the death of the person they loved most and worked to not have the end of KAMINA be the end of them all. For Yoko to not just accept her station in life as a teacher, but return for the good of mankind. For Kitan and KAMINA to both give their lives nobly for a cause, while allowing it to be their decision that put them there, not fate's. Even at the end, when Shimon must let go of Nia for good, as she only exists if the anti-spiral exists, he does this with grace and happiness, understanding that this is the path they both chose, not the one that was chosen for them. Sometimes there are happenings outside of our control, but we can never know if they are until we try and try and try again. The crew in Gurren Lagann taught me to never just accept fate until I no longer have the strength to try and change it one last time. And when that acceptance comes, it isn't followed by a temper, sorrow, or depression. It's followed by a calm and knowing I've done all I possibly can and that I am leaving in the way I'm meant to. And I think anyone can have that takeaway. That strong ping in your heart when you watch Shimon and his crew, that feeling of your soul being lifted up, that feeling of liberation is so strong because Gurren Lagann teaches us that we have control over our own lives, no matter what. We just have to reach for what we want. So with each day, don't just reach for the sky, reach for the heavens and pierce them with all you have, because you may never get a second chance. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel and those who continue to watch my videos. We recently broke over 150 subscribers, and I know that may not seem like a lot to other people, but it truly does mean a lot to me. I remember when I was at 10 subs, and even then I felt lucky, so truly I thank you. Special shout out to those who made it all the way here to the end. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you on the next one. My name is Max, and I'll see you soon. Peace.